I can talk about number 6, distinguishable vernacular, that all cults will have their own language. And I'm going to read to you about it from my new book, The Culting of America. Language shapes identity and belief. Every high-demand group, whether a cult, a corporation, or even a fandom, has its own special language. The language helps you feel like part of the in crowd. But moreover, the more you use their words, the more your thinking starts shifting too. Your own voice fades, replaced by the group's. Their vocabulary becomes your filter, shaping how you see the world, what you believe, and even what you think is possible. Research indicates that the language we speak can influence our thought processes, a concept known as linguistic relativity. For instance, a study published in Current Biology found that bilingual individuals might categorize objects differently depending on the language they are using at the time. As a trilingual individual, Spanish, Portuguese, a little bit of English, can confirm. Margaret Singer describes this process as key to cult indoctrination, when you affirm that you accept and understand the ideology by beginning to talk in the simple catchphrases particular to that group. At first, you might be repeating the phrases without fully understanding them, but the more you speak them, the more they take hold. Amanda Montell tells us, speech is the first thing we're willing to change about ourselves, and also the last thing we let go.
As I got older, I couldn't help but notice that the same language tactics that my dad described in Synanon could be found kind of everywhere. Like in my high school theater program, and in the wellness industry, and on my social media feed. That's how I came to study the cultish spectrum, degrees of influence, none of which start out with LSD and robes, but instead, sneakily, with words. I want to point out 3 cultish language tactics to listen for in everyday life. The first is called the thought-terminating cliche. Coined in 1961 by the psychiatrist Robert J. Lifton, thought-terminating cliches are zingy stack expressions that are easy to memorize, easy to repeat, and aimed at shutting down independent thinking and questioning. So let's say you're a member of a group, and there's a rule that you want to push back against. You might get hit with a phrase like, trust the process, or it's all in God's plan, to shut you down. In Synanon, the phrase act as if effectively meant pretend that you believe until you do. Today, in conspiracy theory type groups, the phrase do your research.
Don't believe anything I say, take notes and check it out.
Which basically means stop asking me about mine. Next, I want to talk about us versus them labels. In Synanon, defectors were called splittees. Today, you've got your sheeple, your NPCs, your industry plants. When a label makes all of those people seem unilaterally evil and us superior, that's a red flag.
Name something you know now. You know nothing. You don't know if there's a heaven. You don't know if the Quran is authentic. You don't know if you're a human. You don't know whether this is mustard or you don't know whether this is white or gold. All you know is what they told you, and you have belief in what they told you. When we were in our right state of Elohim, we didn't have beliefs. We knew because we were the gods that everybody worshipped.
And thirdly, I want to mention loaded language. Corporate synergistic visionaries, wellness, 5D consciousness. At first, emotionally charged buzzwords like this feel like enlightenment. Then one day you wake up and you realize you've completely surrendered your ability to talk and think for yourself. This language works because it plugs straight into our cognitive biases, these deeply ingrained decision-making shortcuts that developed in earlier human brains to help us process information from the world around us enough to survive it. But today, mental magic tricks like confirmation bias, the sunk cost fallacy, and the halo effect cause us to believe only the information we already agree with, double down on sketchy choices, and worship mortal human beings we've never even met as all-knowing deities.
Why do people call Dr. York the Messiah when he himself says that he is not the Messiah?
Don't believe anything I say. Take notes and check it out. You understand? People are going to hate me. Blessed is he who is persecuted after righteous name's sake. For great is his reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before. I am not claiming to be a prophet. Let me set the record straight. I have never claimed to be the beloved Messiah, Jesus, Yeshua, or Isa and Maryam al-Masih. I am not the Messiah. Please, don't let people do that to me. Don't, oh, he calls himself Jesus. Please, there's a million Muslims with the name Isa. There's nowhere on my name anywhere where you see al-Masih. I repeat, I am not the Messiah. When one of them say that, I was talking to the man, looking right in his mouth. He said, I am not the Messiah, and I never was the Messiah, and I never will be the Messiah. Power to bring all those forces, all those incarnations into one being to come back out and solve the problem, whether you accept me or not.
This clash between our once useful cognitive biases and the information age is this phenomenon that I've been calling magical overthinking. And it's a problem.
Right? This is him corrupting whatever he touches. So my honest answer is not one alphabet. It looks like an eclectic constructed script. And based on the actual chart you provided, I will put Sabian, South Arabian, plus the Bengali style influence at the top of my suspect list with Arabic Hebrew visual borrowings laid in. Exactly. Let's move forward. I asked Google AI this. Alright, so now we finna jump into Nuwapu and Amanubi Ru'akapata. Question, what language did the word Nuwapu come from? Answer, Nuwapu is an ancient Nubian word, which we already proved that it was not, alright? Which is right knowledge, right wisdom, and a right understanding, finite and infinite to know. According to the Lane's Arabic English lexicon, the Ashuric Syriac Arabic root word nu, see, means of color inclining to black. The word Nuwapu is from the Ashuric Arabic root word nu. That's another lie. So if you go back to these words, we got although we started from the live that me and Chuck did about who brought the word Nuwapu first and Nebu and all that stuff. We show y'all through actual documentation that you're corrupted the term Nuwapu and straight bastardize the word. All right, so here, reading from right to left, Nuwabu. Nun wa bay equals nu. This is what York did in Arabic. Nuwabu. All right. So we just going back over this again. Things will begin at this renewal point in our history for the pristine purity of Al-Islam called Nuwapu. Once again, Nuwapu is not connected to Al-Islam or even the definition, meaning the peace. Nuwapu just got defined up here as right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, finite, infinite. This has nothing to do with a state of being, which is peace, and today call it religion. So he's lying within the same time he's trying to make up a definition using Arabic, because again, this is the spell magic of Elyon or Alayun, which is Murdoch or Allah. This is what this particular spirit god on the bottom half uses. Okay? What does Nun Wabe mean in the Arabic English lexicon? Right? Google responds. In Edward William Lane's Arabic English lexicon, spelling out the letters Nun, Wa, and Bay, or Ba, identifies the root Nub. In classical Arabic, this root carries the primary meaning of returning, taking turns, or something that happens periodically or repeatedly. So they ain't got nothing to do with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, finite, infinite to know, right? Or inclining to black. This is what Nun Wabe means, right? But nobody went to check behind York during the 90s when he was saying this foolishness, because we was under the spell. Edward William Lane breaks down the words derived from the root into several distinct meanings. The verb naba, to supply the place of another, act as a representative, proxy, or deputy for someone else. To happen or befall, used when a misfortune, event, or trial suddenly happens or returns to someone. A calamity befell him. To come by turns, to take a turn or recur at intervals. Look at that. It got nothing to do with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The form for verb anaba, to repent and turn to God. In the Quran dictionary, this form is used frequently to mean returning to obedience, repenting, or turning one's heart back to God. Nouns derived from the root. Naba, a turn, a period, or a time. In later usage, it came to mean a crisis, an attack of illness because it returns in cycles. This is what 6 ether does. This is what Murdoch did language-wise. He created a calamity because he took what 9 ether gave Alpha Unu and went against it, corrupted it, and created more mental illness. Okay? So this is describing what Murdoch has done. Look, Naib, a deputy, vicegerent, proxy, someone who takes a turn to stand in for another. That's what York did. He stood in as a false Amenubi Rakapata and Dr. York and all these other names he was using, but the whole thing was he pretended to be someone else.
When you see me, you see God.
It was frightening at first. Now it's not frightening no more. Now I'm thinking revenge.
He ended up at one point with 10,000 followers.
He was a chief black eagle of the lost tribes of the Yamasee, and he was the man from planet Risk. And then he settled on the Dr. Malachi Z. York identity, the master teacher of the United Nubian Nation of Moors.
It had all the earmarks of cult.
The people who came in had to renounce their family, so they gave him whatever possessions they had.
This is what you call identity thief. Look, Niyaba, the concept of proxy, representation, or deputyship. Would you like the exact translation or the page citation for one of these specific word variations? Excuse me. Side note, Mr. York said the root word to Nawapu was nu, which meant inclining to black. All right, so I brought that back up again. As you see, none of the Arabic root definition had nothing to do with the color black. I asked it, what Arabic word means inclining to black? Google responds, the exact translation, inclining to blackness, appears prominently in classical Arabic lexicons and Quranic translation for a few specific words. The Amud Hamatan. This is the most famous term translating to inclining to blackness due to its usage in the Quran. Surah Ar-Rahman, verse 64. The meaning, it refers to vegetation, gardens, or pastures that are such a deep, lush, and intense dark green color from plentiful watering that they appear to be inclining to blackness. The root comes from the root dim, DHM, which is tied to darkness and blackness. Hawa. And Edward William Lane's Arabic English lexicon, the root HWY, and the word Hawa signify a dark color complexion. Right? Remember that Hawa is the term for Eve. Remember Eve and Adam were East Indians. They were black, not African, but they were East Indians. Okay. The meaning, Lane explicitly defines it as a brown or dark color or redness inclining to blackness. Classical scholars note this is the linguistic origin of the name Hawa, Eve describing her dark skin complexion. Talus or tussa. If you're looking for a verb or noun specifically meaning a color or object turning dark, the root TLS is used in Lane's lexicon. The meaning, Lane record that Talisa means he or it was or became of a dusty color inclining to black. Are you analyzing a specific Quranic verse, poetry, text, and trying to find a word to describe a specific object like a horse, plant, or garment? My response. This shows again Mr. York was throwing things against the wall to see what sticks. Nobody checked York back then because we were under the spell of Murdoch or law. The next thing is Hawa, a name for Eve, means dark skin complexion. How come York's drawing of Eve was a light-skinned, red-boned female? Once again, showing you the lies. She doesn't look black to me. I asked this, what does the word nude mean in Lang's dictionary? Google response, in Edward William Lang's Arabic English lexicon, nude, the root NWB, means to return, to take a turn, or to happen periodically. Once again, has nothing to do with right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, finite, infinite, or none of that. This is dealing with an action, a cycle. The connection between noob and inclining to black is a well-documented linguistic error from the writings of Dwight York. Look at that. Even the Google knows this. He incorrectly combined the definition of an entirely different Arabic root, TLS or DHM, and erroneously claimed to belong to NWB to justify a definition for the word Nubian. According to the actual text of Lang's lexicon, the true definition under the word nude are exclusively related to cycles and representation. The true definition of NWB, again, to befall or happen, to take a turn, to represent an act as a proxy. I asked, what does the word infinite, finite, right knowledge and wisdom, and right understanding mean in the Arabic dictionary? Because that's what he said. All right? See, that's what he said is in the Arabic English lexicon. Right? Google responds. In the Lang's classical Arabic English lexicon, these terms correspond to distinct foundational Arabic roots. Infinite is God mutanhin. The classical meaning, this is a compound phrase. God means without or non. And mutanahim comes from the root word NHY, which means to reach an end, a limit, or termination. Look at that. Has nothing to do with Nwapu, y'all. In the dictionary, together the phrase literally translates to that which is no end, bound, or utmost limit. Finite, mutanin, or makdud, the classical meaning derives from the same root. Mutahin means something that finishes, terminates, or reaches its final boundary. Alternately, the root HDD gives mahadid, meaning something that's restricted by physical or logical boundaries, limits. In the dictionary, it translates to ended, bounded, limited, or terminated. Right knowledge is al-im al-yakin. The classic meaning, knowledge, comes from the root lm, which Lang defines as the perception of a thing according to what it is, or certain cognizance. Right or certain comes from the root YQN, meaning that which is true, established, and free from any doubt. In the dictionary, it translates the clear, indubitable, and verified knowledge, wisdom. Hikmah. The classical meaning derived from the root HKM. In the lexicon, the root carries the primary meaning of preventing or restraining from wrongdoing or ignorant behavior. Hikmah is defined as the management of things with justice, knowledge, and reason, or ability to put everything in its proper place. Right understanding, no Arabic equivalent. See, this is what we talking about, what York does. He creates things that don't go, and people run with it because they're not knowledgeable of the things that he's doing, which is being deceptive. The linguistic context, the word overstanding does not exist in classical Arabic dictionaries, nor is it a standard English linguistic term. The real origin overstanding is a modern piece of wordplay originally borrowed from Rastafarians, that's right, vocabulary, and later popularized heavily by Malachi Z. York within the Nubian nation. In the Nubian philosophy, the phrase right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding, Nwapu, is used to signify a grasp of knowledge that allegedly goes above and beyond standard understanding. While Nubian texts frequently assign pseudo-Arabic or ancient Sumerian etymologies to these concepts, you would not find the term overstanding or its direct philosophy inside Edward William Lang's lexicon or any standard Arabic dictionary. See? Okay. Does these words you just defined in Arabic connect to the words Nwapu, noob at all, or at its roots? or a connection to the Nubian word for gold, nab, or nab? York says black, but the Nubian word isn't that. Google responds, no, there's absolutely no linguistic, etymological, historical connection between those classical Arabic words, infinite, finite knowledge, wisdom, and the words Nuwapu, Nub, or the Nubian words for gold. You are completely correct in your tracking. The actual Nubian word does not mean black. Malachi Z. York constructed a multi-layered linguistic hoax by manually blending completely unrelated languages, Arabic, Ancient Egyptian, and Nubian, to create an artificial vocabulary for the Nubian nation. The fact check on the Nubian word for gold, nab or nab. You hit the nail on the head. The indigenous Nubian word is nab or nub in Coptic, which explicitly means gold. The true origin, it's an ancient loan word from the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic word Nebu, or Nub, which also means gold. The geographic name, the geographical region of Nubia, was named the land of gold by outside empires because it contained Africa's most plentiful gold mines. The false claim. York claimed that Nub or Nubian inherently means black in real linguistics. The word has zero connection to skin color or blackness. The ancient Egyptian referred to the black-skinned people of that region as Nehesiu or Neheschu. Never knew. I asked Google, now what is the Nubian word for black, and is it connected to the Arabic word Nub that York claims means black as it relates to the word Nawabu or Nun Wabe in Arabic? The actual Nubian modern now word for the color black is Uru in related Nubian dialects such as the Dungalawi and Kenuzi. The word is Urumei. In the extinct Old Nubian language, the root word for black or darkness is attested to Odum. There is absolutely zero connection between the genuine Nubian words for black Uru or Udum and the Arabic word Nuwabe. The separation of the linguistic roots. The separation of linguistic roots, York constructed this definition by forcefully conflating distinct languages that belong to completely different language families. The Arabic root word Nub is documented in a standard Arabic lexicon. This root solely means to return, to take a turn, or to act as a proxy, giving us words like Naba for a cycle, turn, or Naib for a deputy. It has no relation to color. The Nubian word for gold, nab or nab, this originates from the ancient Egyptian word for gold, Nebu. It becomes the geographic name for the region, land of gold, but never meant a color or a race. All right, this will be a conclusion of Malachi York Letters Part 10. All right, and we will be back with our next part, True Mental Cosmic Peace in wartime.